welcome to the Wine, Whiskey, and Wedding Planning Podcast. We are here, your co-hosts, Courtney and Chris. Courtney, say hi.
Hi, people.
And we are talking about wedding video, wedding photo today. We are doing all kinds of fun stuff. Today we have a very special guest, Nataly. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and who you are and where you're from.
Totally. Hello, viewers. My name is Nataly. I am a wedding photographer here in Sacramento, and I shoot weddings.
Nice. Perfect. Very apt description.
How else to explain that?
Yeah, no, it's great. So how did you... Sorry,
Do
you
you
go
have
ahead.
like a business name, or is it just your name?
Oh, yes, of course. So it's Lumiére Visual Arts.
Okay, so it's Lumiére. I've wondered how to
Lumiére,
pronounce
yes.
it. I was
Yes.
wondering if it was like Lumière or like, you know, if we were going like full
Very
French.
fancy.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is French, so a lot of people do try to pronounce it like Lumière.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
like that. Or
for
they
sure.
just say Lumière and ask me if it's Disney related. And
Yeah, there you go.
it's not.
Yeah, well, yeah, if you have like a side business called Cogsworth Videography or something like that, that'd be
There
great.
you go.
Nice. I gotta make those jokes because she loves Disney so much. You know? But so fun story. We got to get this out of the way. You and I reconnected recently after not having talked to each other in years.
Yes.
Since 7th grade, actually.
Exactly, yeah. 7th
Belie-
grade.
Yeah, I know, which is-
Probably more than 10 years.
Yeah, I know.
Definitely
You
a
reached
lot.
out to me. Is that what happened? Or did I
Yeah,
reach out
so
to you?
I was scrolling through Facebook and I got a sponsored ad for your videos, your wedding videos, and I was like, Chris Hardwick, like, okay, that sounds really familiar. And then I clicked it and your face popped up and I was like, oh my God, I went to middle school with this kid. Small world.
I know. That's so
Isn't
crazy to
it?
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it kind of blew me away. But so we obviously, I mean, we not obviously, but we didn't talk a lot in 7th
Yeah.
grade. I mean, we saw each other
We were
like.
both very socially awkward. At
I-
least I was.
Oh, no,
but-
no, I was too. Yeah, you were absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I was just trying to figure out what hair my color should be dyed next.
Yes,
back then.
I was explaining to my mom yesterday about how I'm doing this, and I was like, "Do you remember the kid like with half black and half blonde hair in middle school?
No way.
Like that's what you had."
I'm a legend.
Yeah.
I love that. That's
She's
all
like,
I
"Yeah,
wanted.
I totally remember him. My sister remembered you too."
So
Yeah.
Funny. Oh, what? You, Damaris, right?
Damaris,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
That is so funny. Yeah, I remember. I've exactly with Damaris. I think I had like one conversation with her,
Yeah.
or something like that. But yeah, so we were today. We're talking about wedding photography versus wedding videography. Different things that you can run into, helpful things, unhelpful things, things like that. So why don't we start with wedding photography and wedding videography? So, not to put you on the spot, but how would you say? Do you think that they're different? I guess in the most vital ways, I guess.
Different. I'm gonna have to think about that. Dang it.
That's all good. I'll give you something to lead off with. I'll do a little bit better than that.
Okay.
So for me, I think the big thing is like the inclusion of audio is like a so overlooked thing when it comes to what people consider, because a lot of people just go, I've heard it a lot. It's been one of my main challenges in the wedding videography industry is people just kind of naturally assume like, well, I have photos. What do videos add? And videos add plenty of things visually, like motion, being able to capture, moments in a different way and that sort of thing. But a big thing is audio, and it's something that a lot of people don't think about. Is
Yeah,
that
definitely.
yeah, our memories are so like horrible, and they forget things like right away, and like so it's nice to be able to go back and hear how someone delivered like their vows or their speech, whatever
Yeah,
it is.
definitely. Another big thing, like you said, was like it is like a moving picture.
Exactly.
So when you see a photo, you think of one thing, but when you're actually seeing it, like seeing the person's actual emotion and like the way they're talking and
Yeah.
all that stuff, it definitely, I don't know, it's more interesting to me. I always liked video more than photo, but I'm terrible at filming weddings, so we're sticking to pictures.
So there you go. Nice. That's great. Yeah. Well, let's see. We'll probably cut it right here, but let's get the next thing that we want to talk about.
I want to ask her more about herself.
Yeah. Why don't you? What do you got?
I want to intro her more.
Yeah, totally.
How did you get into doing wedding photos, or just photos in general?
Photos in general. So I actually started with film. I wanted to go to college to work in the film industry. So I was studying digital cinema production. And I ended up buying a DSLR and taking pictures, and things just kind of snowballed into I'm a wedding photographer now.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I always loved taking pictures. Awkward middle school story. I don't know if you remember this from 7th grade. Was we had a night at the Oscars themed party thing at school?
No, I actually don't remember that.
Okay, maybe you weren't there, but we had a film contest, and at that time I was like super into film, so I was like, oh my god, this is my time to shine. So I made this really awkward like video with my friends.
Oh, right on.
And ended up winning a little plastic trophy for it. So I was like, okay, yes, this is what I'm gonna do. And yeah, so while I was studying film, I ended up taking pictures, and that ended up being the route I went. So
there you go.
I love it, but,
that's really cool, though.
I know, yeah. 7th grade. I know.
Yeah.
We all have our legacies. You've got your
yes,
filming.
I still have the plastic trophy. It's
Yes.
on my desk next to my laptop.
That is so funny. Thinking, I guess just to give a little, this is totally unrelated, so, but I do have to mention it because you brought it up, I think, one of the times that we talked after we kind of got reconnected, was that you and I went to a 7th grade camp at Hume Lake.
Yes.
And do you remember... You probably know what I'm talking about. So,
maybe?
Yeah, so I got punched / kind of slapped in the face by...
We are thinking the same story.
Yeah,
right,
okay,
yeah.
cool, yeah. Because this girl thought that I was cheating on my 7th grade girlfriend at the time.
I remember that.
And thought that I had been like making out with some girl that I'm in a camp.
You playa.
I know. Well, but the thing is that I hadn't.
Yeah.
No, you're very innocent.
Yeah, and she she thought I had, and
Yes.
so she punched me in the face. Yeah. And she went to Jessup. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that. I know the story, and that's why.
So we ended up going to the same college. The girl who punched me.
Oh wow,
and
fun!
I saw her, and we got to talking, and I think I can't remember if it came up or not, but it was just weird of like. That was probably one of the only... I didn't get hit a lot when I was a kid. I feel like people get into fights and stuff. That was pretty much it. I got slapped by a girl one time.
Yeah.
And I didn't even deserve it. I didn't even earn it,
We all,
I kind of wish I had cheated. No, I'm just kidding.
We all need our, rites of passage, man.
Yeah. But I had to bring that up. But yeah.
That was definitely a fun time. I remember that. Just like the chaos of like, wait, what just happened? Who did what?
I know. It's so weird.
Chris did that? That's not something he would do. Like
Middle school is very dramatic.
Oh, yes. It is. It felt
hormones
like the end
raging.
of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right,
Wondering who we're gonna marry from our 7th grade class.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's very serious.
I legitimately was like, no, yeah, and we'll go to high school together, and then we'll go to college together, and then we'll get married because we are together in 7th grade, and that means that we're together forever.
Bound for life, yes.
I know, it's so strange.
People crack me up.
Yeah, and I still hear when I see kids that are get so broken up about their relationships in 7th, 8th grade, even freshman and sophomore year in high school, I'm kind of like, you do realize that there was no way that there was. It was
hey,
like
there is a small percentage.
That's true.
Okay? You hear all the time, sweetheart or high school sweethearts, getting married, and
that's true.
So sweet.
Actually,
let them have their moment.
I say that, but I shot a wedding for a couple named Jamie and Brian, and they
actually did know each other in middle school.
I can't remember if they knew each other in middle school. They might have even started dating.
They might have started dating the end of middle school.
Yeah.
But they definitely at least knew each other since middle school.
Yep, exactly.
Crazy.
Totally. So, let's see.
Exception to the rule, man.
Yeah, exactly.
They're out there.
So we talked about kind of what are some, I asked you beforehand, what are some common good or bad things that we've seen, different brides make kind of in regards to video and photo. And so I just wondered if you could kind of speak to that, and maybe we could come up with some advice of things to avoid, horror stories we've seen of common mistakes, things like that.
Horror stories.
We've got plenty of those. At least I do. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I don't know. I would say it's not a mistake or a bad thing, but I would definitely make sure your photographer and videographer connect before the wedding. Mm-hmm. I have worked with people who we just didn't click, and it was kind of tough to just be like, hey, this is about them. Let's have a good time and work together, but just weren't vibing. People were getting in front of each other, and it's just rough. So definitely making sure they connect, or at least reaching out to, your photographer or videographer and saying, hey, who do you like? Who do you work well with? Who matches your style? Yeah,
totally. No, that's great. We talked about that, I think, 2 episodes ago. We had a photographer, and she, no, but I mean, just to say, it really is something that comes up a lot, is you always get at least one story where, you know, there's another photographer, another videographer, or a videographer and photographer who don't work well together. And it totally, it's huge to make sure that they have good chemistry with each other and everything.
Or at least that they know how to work together. Because I think sometimes, like, a good question to ask, like, the bride and groom is what they really value. And so it could be, like, photo versus video, or certain parts of the day photo over video. Because that way, even if you don't really, like, vibe well with the other vendor, that way you kind of know when you have more, like, leeway to just kind of be like, get out of my way. They want this right now, and it's about them and not you.
Exactly.
Something I've started doing, which, you know, I'm surprised I didn't do it sooner, was I have, you know, typically when I'm talking with a bride, there's like a long process that it takes to kind of get from we're meeting and introducing, you know, being introduced to each other. Either they're reaching out to me or, you know, maybe it was a referral or something. And before it was just kind of like we would hop on a call and then, you know, we would see if it would work out and everything. But now there's more of a process where we do a first call that I call just an intro call or like a discovery call. And essentially it's before we even talk about, you know, the specifics of the how many hours you need me for or how long do you want your video to be, things like that. We just talk about what their vision is, and we just talk about like who they are. I always ask them to tell me their love story. And recently I started asking, you know, what is important for you, not just in a videographer, but in a vendor. And that has yielded, and I always thought that if someone asked that to me, I wouldn't quite know how to answer. But it actually has yielded, I haven't gotten a bad answer yet. It's like, no one's been like, oh, I don't know. Everyone's been like, oh, I want them to take charge, or I want them to be open-minded, or I want them to, you know, which is already right there, you've got like this dichotomy of some people want you to, you know, like they said, take charge and kind of show more initiative and kind of control things, and then some people have more like a vision that they want to kind of manifest, and you know, they want you to be open to that. So it's a great point of just kind of like, you know, what's important to you, because I mean it's their day, and they're the ones who know best, you know, exactly what the vendors need to do to help accomplish that.
And then it just sometimes it can help your vendors be able to communicate better. Just because you know ahead of time what the couple wants.
Exactly.
Well, with remaining anonymous or you know, being discreet, have you ever had any breakdowns of communication, not just with, you know, other photographers or videographers, but with like, you know, the venue, the DJ, anything like that? You know, what have been kind of your war stories or things of that nature, I guess?
I haven't had too many. Like, you're asking like if there was ever times where like vendors just didn't communicate to each other well. I did have one time, like, the DJ just kept announcing, like, things were happening during the reception without being like, hey, this is happening in 5 minutes. Like, so I'd be off on, like, the other side of the world taking pictures of this, and then I hear, like, and now the bride and groom are doing this. And I'm like, oh,
exactly.
shoot. And just, like, booked it across a dance hall, you know, filled with people just running in circles. So, besides that, I don't know. I've had pretty good luck on, like, having vendors that I worked well with, and... anytime, like, we did step on our toes, it wasn't, like, you know, screaming match.
I know, right?
You know, I'm not that type of person. If someone steps in my way, I'm like, all right, fine.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. Usually what happens is I kind of ask couples beforehand. I'm like, okay, so, and be brutally honest, which one's kind of more important at certain points, photo or video? And typically it's photo, just because everyone, I mean, you know, I think not everyone's used to having video yet. It's kind of like we're definitely having a photographer, like that's obvious. But also we might get a videographer, or we know we want a videographer, but we'll just book that second. But yeah, so typically what that means is that the day of the wedding, during like any point where I might be in the photographer's way, I always just make it a priority, just to kind of like and I always say my go-to joke, I think I even used it on you, is that if during the ceremony or something I'm in your way, just give me a real subtle signal, like caca. And that always works. Always works wonders. Because it's, you know, it's subtle, but it's effective. That's what I
Playing on that though, like, as a photographer, I always try really hard not to get in the videographer's way, just because I know you need that, like, long stagnant shot of, like, whatever's happening. And if I cut in, like, okay, now that 30 seconds is ruined. You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Because I did film a wedding one time where the photographer, like, you know, I only filmed a few just because, oh God, I'm terrible at it. But the photographer kept, like, jumping in, and I'm like, okay, like the bride was walking down the aisle. There's no way I could have like moved all my gear and like at the time I had everything on like a standing tripod because I'm a wimp and I can't carry a stabilizer. But like in the time that you like stepped across, the bride was halfway down the aisle, you know? So I always think about that, and like I never want to ruin a videographer's shot because I know it's way harder for you to like reframe and recompose everything.
Yeah.
Whereas I could just like grow 2 inches and like reach over, you know.
That's true.
Yeah. So
yeah. No, I mean it's a good point. I think the overall thing is, and I think it's way better to have it that way of like, it's more like, you know, I guess to use a metaphor. I've used this metaphor for like marriages and like compromise in marriages of like, you know, rather than two people like fighting each other, you could get you could achieve the same result through compromise, but even though you ended with the same end result, the process of getting there is just so much different. So, and I compare it to like you know, like kind of like a bow, like you have like the wood and the string and both of them bend, and so rather than, you know, if one of them decided not to bend, then both of them would break, or, you know, one of them would break. So it's kind of that same thing where it's like you could have two photographers and videographers who get a great result, but by butting heads, and, you know, it could cause tension on the wedding day, and it could, you know, and there's a potential for it to go wrong and you not to get the, you know, the shot that you need. But it works better, so much better when, you know, both are willing to bend and you're both thinking of the other person.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
you're hired to do a service, and you can't make it about you and say, this is the way I work. So yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah.
One that it's not necessarily a mistake, but definitely like when you're looking at your venue, think about your photographer too, or vice versa. Just because like I've had someone like request that I shoot like a dark cathedral wedding, and I shoot light and airy. Like there's no way I'm gonna go into a very dark venue and like you're gonna get the same results. So you're kind of setting yourself up for not necessarily failure, but you're not gonna get what you want out of it.
Exactly.
So if you are the type of person who wants like very light photos, but you have a dark venue, just am I answering that right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
I started running with my thought and then I lost it.
No, totally. No, absolutely. Yeah, it comes down to like just making sure that you kind of have a, you know, like a style in mind.
Yes, exactly.
And a lot of people,
consistent like style for sure.
Yeah. So do you have something to say?
No, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think it's really funny how like I think that the Brighton area is like really, really popular, but it's funny because that's like, I'll be the first to say it's not my style at all. And so it's funny because I remember like when we were looking for a photographer for our wedding, I had a couple recommendations and I was looking through of them, and there was one that was like so bright and like very like princessy is almost how I felt about it. Like it was just very, very like bright and airy and lots of like whites, and I was like, okay, that's not it. At least like not for like my wedding. I was like, we're getting married like in the woods.
I thought you were a Disney princess. That's weird.
That's what's so funny. I know. It's like, I love Disney, but also I have a dark side.
Totally. Oh yeah.
But it's like, yeah, no, I really wanted like the darker, like moodier look, which isn't as popular for weddings, but is what I was wanting. So it is really important to kind of like know your style and what you're looking for, and like as you're looking at, you know, video, photo vendors, like keep in mind, like see what they've done, look at their portfolio, and it's like if they don't fit that, like it's probably not the one.
Yeah. Exactly. Your style is pretty light and airy, right? And I think that it does tend to be more popular for
for sure
wedding photography. Yeah.
I do throw in the occasional moody. You know, if someone did have me go into
spice it up. Wow.
Sometimes, yes. Depends on the day, how I'm feeling.
Yeah. Right on.
But yeah, like if someone were to call me into like a very dark, you know, dramatic cathedral, I could do it. But if you're expecting me to do light and airy in there, that's not what's gonna happen.
Right, if you're looking at like your normal kind of a, like
exactly.
a look, it's not gonna quite
so definitely like ask photographers like, okay, can you handle this? Like, what would you do in this scenario type thing?
How well do you know your lighting?
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, it's like a lot of times it's the style of the videography is like, it's really, that's why I have that first call, is because it really is important to get to you know, talk to people and see like, okay, are you looking for like a 5 to 7 minute like film, and then maybe you want some extra stuff like some full like ceremony footage, that kind of thing, or if you want like a 2 hour, some people want like 2 hour long
they
documentary
want a whole feature length film.
Exactly. And it's like, that is not me at all, and I am not here to make that for you, and I will send you somewhere else because I cannot accomplish that, or I probably could, but I would just me personally, it's just a whole style. I wouldn't even know where to begin. So, Yeah, it's very important to like make sure that, and I think that's a good mark of a good vendor is that they're asking questions like that, and that they're not just trying to like figure out how to, put a square peg into a round hole.
Yeah,
exactly. They're more just trying to figure out what exactly do you want? Can I actually fulfill that? And then if it can, then great. Well, then let's talk about how to make it happen. But for sure. Yeah.
What have been like some of your? It's kind of on a different note, but what have been some like moments in weddings that you shot that just like really stood out? Like you really liked something because it was different, or it just like the place was really great. Just like certain moments that like were really really like special or like looked really good for you.
Ooh, that's tough.
Brag on yourself. Come on.
Brag on myself. I cannot do that. I'm not that person.
Like, were you like editing that photo and you're like, hell yeah, like that's
I definitely
the one.
have had some of those moments. Last summer, actually, I did a wedding at McConnell Estates Winery. Oh my God, I was just like, oh, I love this.
Yeah.
Looking at the pictures, I was like, I'm proud of myself. I'll toot my own horn. Like, those pictures are so cute. But like the lighting was gorgeous. Like, it was a cloudy day, so it was like on point. The florals, amazing. The venue, gorgeous. Everything just like came together. So it wasn't even like me making it happen. I was just like, it's just all perfect. Like, it couldn't have gone any other way. It was wonderful.
That was amazing. Nice. Yeah, I totally know what you mean. There's one wedding I shot where, and it wasn't even like, it was a kind of a similar thing of it just all worked out, but it was less so because of the venue or because of the, I guess, I don't know, the setting, but I think part of it is that the bride was just, she is so pretty.
She's so pretty.
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Is it Katie?
It's Katie, yeah.
She's a friend of ours too. But like I could brag on Katie all day. She's so cute and she's so pretty and she just has like this face that like you look at her and you're like, you could be like from a magazine. Like,
yeah, I know.
It's just like so.
For me,
specific, yeah.
when you're a videographer first starting out, I think skin tones are a really big thing that are a struggle at first. Like trying to figure out how to make people not look washed out or orange. And Katie is just like, it's like I had to hardly do anything, and her skin just looks like this perfect like golden tone. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is the easiest thing ever. So yeah I remember, and so.
She's just real cute.
If a bride is ever like, oh, can I see some of your work? I'm like, yes, look at this video specifically, please.
Just that one.
The rest of them are good, but I don't know, this one hits different.
Yeah.
Like it's.
Didn't it? And I feel like you actually had someone one time tell you like they cried watching it. And it's like you don't even know that.
I know. I get. Well, to that point, exactly. I get people all the time that are like, I cried watching the video, even though I didn't like know the people, and I'm all like, well, great, that makes me feel awesome, but also. I envy that level of empathy because I don't know that I maybe, I don't know, maybe if I'm feeling emotional and I've had some whiskey, then I can.
Do you cry at weddings?
Oh man, not in. It's specific things.
Yeah, okay. It would have to be like a really specific
parent-child stuff gets me like no one's business. I love my parents so much. Like there was one, like if it's a mom and a like the mother-son dance. Yeah. There's always a chance I'm gonna get a little misty. Always a chance.
He's just crying behind his camera.
Yeah. What about you? Ever cry at weddings?
I think maybe only once I almost did. There was this couple, they were doing their first dance, and like it was just such a great song, and they were just so in love. I was just like. I want that.
Nice.
That's so cute.
Yeah, but I don't know. Vows are usually super sweet. Like a lot of times, I'm just like, their little inside jokes like get me snickering most of the time. Like, so I'm just like,
yeah, I love those.
They're so cute.
Yeah, I love the vows. It's fun. It's really fun to see like how creative people are and like what they thought of.
People, I don't know how they keep surprising me. They always come up with new stuff. It's crazy.
You always think like, oh, I've been to so many weddings. They're all going to be the same. No.
Yeah, exactly.
People throw in some really cute stuff into the vows. I love it.
I know. It is wild.
One of my favorites is like, they both said it. That's what was so great about it. And it's like, you don't normally share your vows. It's not like they knew. But it was so great. It was like, he said like, and I promise that I will try and put the milk back in that specific spot in the fridge. And she like died laughing because in her vows she was saying like the same thing of like, thank you for putting up with all my weird things, like putting the milk in a specific place in the fridge.
I know.
That's
and
cute.
as she was saying the vows, it's like, it was like leading up to it, you could tell she was like trying to hold in the laughter. And she was like, and thank you for putting up with me, even though you don't understand, like, that I just want the milk back in the fridge. And you could hear him just go, no way. Like, that they both talked about it.
It was so
That's how you know it comes up every day.
Right, yeah. But they powered through.
I know,
Love is
exactly.
prevailing.
True.
Exactly, despite the milk
Yeah.
being in the improper place. Yeah, totally.
They really worked through it.
Yep.
Right.
So this is the portion of the podcast where we talk about our featured drink of the week. It is the Wine, Whiskey, and Wedding Planning Podcast. So it is another whiskey this time around. This one is Paddleford Creek Bourbon. This one is one of my go-tos. So fun fact, we go to Total Wine and more. They have lots.
And more.
Besides Total Wine, also more.
Awesome.
And they have they've got a
This
great
is some of the
selection
more.
there. This is turning into a promo for Total Wine.
Yeah.
I really do love it.
Please
It is like the
sponsor
alcohol superstore. But yeah, I mean, like, there's a guy there in our
local one.
our local.
Our good pal Jacob.
Yeah, exactly. I always forget his name, even though he rocks. I'm really bad at names. But yeah, so he always suggests the best affordable whiskeys, or I mean, he probably has a nice option for like any brand of alcohol, or any kind of alcohol, I mean. And so he suggested one to me that got discontinued when I bought it.
Oh, no fun.
Yeah, I know. Well, he
Right?
told me it was getting discontinued
To be fair.
when I bought it, to be fair. But then he also pointed me towards this one, and it has been my go-to bourbon ever since.
It's a small batch bourbon, right?
I don't know. I actually was wanting to say that, like, it says barrel-aged mellow finish, so, I mean, I don't know.
I think at least
Charcoal
in the
filter?
section that it's in, I'm pretty sure it was a small batch.
I think it is small batch. But it's really great. It's really smooth, and
Pretty affordable.
yeah, pretty affordable. I'm a cheap guy. I'm not very bougie with my liquors, even though I host a podcast that's all about alcohol and wedding planning.
I
So
know, it's
that's
like,
great.
and me with my $2 wine.
I know. Yeah. What about you? Do you got a go-to drink?
Oh, no, not really.
Not really.
Yeah, I'm not picky about anything, but yeah, whiskey. Ugh.
All right, here's the moment of truth. Be brutally honest. Be brutally honest. Scale of 1 to 10. I made Natalie a drink right before we started the show, so scale of 1 to 10. How good is the drink?
It just tastes like lemonade.
Nice, sweet. Okay.
It is very sweet.
Okay, good. That's what I went for.
Lots of sugar.
I'm just gonna talk about this cute little cat that we're putting on the table. His name's Jasper. He's cute, and I was mentioning that I would die for his sins and pay his taxes if I really had to, because he rocks. Fun little fact about him, though, he likes to poop in the sink. That is the one thing that I don't like about this
It's
guy.
not amazing, but if that's like his one annoying thing, I
Yeah.
will take it.
You
Go on,
should
just chill
switch
out.
the toilet and the sink and see if you can convince him, like,
There you
somehow
go.
potty train him.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
has gone in the toilet, not in a long time, but when he was younger, he was in the toilet.
What, like,
That's awesome.
he didn't go. You make it sound like he used
No, I
the
mean,
toilet.
like, he
fell in the
himself.
toilet. Yeah, he was inside of the toilet, is what you should say.
Oh, poor guy.
You made it sound like we had the smartest cat in the world, but actually we just had
we
a
did.
cat of average intelligence.
I once
let's be
did try
honest.
potty training my cat.
Yeah? Like to
Yeah.
go in the toilet?
Yeah, like I was watching
There you
YouTube
go.
videos. You
Good
basically, like,
boy.
put a kitty litter, like, under the seat.
Oh.
Like, the whole...
interesting.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good.
The whole, like, tray under it.
Yeah.
And then you slowly, like, cut a hole in it till there's just toilet.
Interesting.
I watched
think-
a lot
Did you
of...
go for that
I did
little
a lot
guy?
of research on it.
Maybe if we cut a hole in the sink, maybe then you would be down for that.
He's cute.
He is
I'm
cute.
sorry.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
sorry.
He's a
He's
little-
usually more chill than this.
He's a
Hold
little
on.
jumpy right now.
I'm
Yeah.
just...
Maybe
I like
just hold out
cats,
his
so...
hand, and if he might just sniff it
Which
a
is
little bit.
the paw? He has one of his back paws, like, he's unfazed if you touch it.
Oh,
Not
not
Oh,
that one.
that's a lie.
See, like, this
Why do you
one,
lie?
he's like,
Why
Oh,
do
there
you
you go.
lie
He
to our
likes that
guests?
one.
No, look, I'm holding this one, and he's
That's
kind of
true.
like, okay, whatever.
I guess he's all right with that one.
No, he's done.
All right, let's stop bugging him. He's a cute little talking piece for us. I was running out of things to talk about, and I'm
Okay.
like, oh, nice, there's a cat.
That's
He's
the model
laying
for the
down,
cameras now.
He's looking toward the camera. We can move
Yeah,
on.
you look good, bud. You look
Okay.
good. You're doing
Stay
good.
there. Don't move.
All right, so to wrap it up, we're going to talk about just kind of some tips that maybe we can offer brides when they're talking about, help them get the best photo and video possible, and what to look for in a vendor, and what to kind of the best way that they can communicate to their vendor their vision and everything. So I'll go ahead and start, so I can give you a second. I'll not make the same mistake and just put you on the spot and make you think of things. Yeah, exactly. I'll kind of start. So a big thing that I found for a lot of clients is they, they want to like have a vendor that puts them at ease, and two, they're actually more than I thought they would be. A lot of clients are really concerned about cameras being up in their faces. Like I've had several clients kind of be like, well, we don't really want like a paparazzi team following us around. It's like you want someone who can kind of be invisible at at the best times, where it's like, because it's so hard to like be present in the emotions and everything of the day when you've got a dozen cameras on you and everything. So the ability to have a dozen cameras on somebody, but also make them feel like that they're just completely alone with whoever it is that they're with, and I think that's so important. So I think that a lot of photographers and videographers, I think that we can kind of just tend to go for the best shot. But if I know that a client was like asking like specifically like, I don't want a bunch of cameras up in my face, I really want it to be candid and everything, that I just go in with a totally different mindset. And I am, I'll even check in with the couples, be like, hey, how's everything been? Like, have you felt like, swarmed at all? I don't want to like crowd you. So that's kind of been the main thing for me is, and all of that comes down to a basic thing of just communication between the vendor and the client. And so if you are a bride listening to this, then definitely tell your vendor, I don't want to be swarmed, or I don't feel like being, crowded by paparazzi. And if you're a vendor listening to this, then maybe start asking your clients, how can I better serve you, and how can I make sure that you feel comfortable? Because, people aren't used to having cameras shoved in their faces. It's the one day of their whole life where that happens. So it's like, you got to make sure they feel comfortable.
On that note, I've been having a lot of couples lately who are just like, okay, we just don't want to stop and take any portraits, like during the reception, like once the ceremony starts, like we just want to be with our guests, they just want to enjoy their day. So if, whoever's listening, if you're someone who wants to do that, one of the best ways to make that happen is to do a first look. I always suggest a first look. Yeah, so you can do all your portraits ahead of time, have your family come early, bust out all those awesome portraits, and then you're just partying the rest of the day.
Totally.
And at that point, like, I become a shadow, as I always say, or a bush. Like, I'm like, I'm not here.
Yeah, yours are cuter than mine. I always say fly on the wall, which is a little gross, you know what I mean? But
a shadow.
I'm a guy, a shadow.
I'm just your little shadow following you around and snickering because you guys are so adorable.
Aw, cute.
But yeah, a lot of couples just don't want to, like, even during the cocktail hour, they want to mingle with their guests and have a good time. So try to bust out all those portraits ahead of time and, schedule that. That way you're just partying. You're just having fun.
I was in a wedding that was like that. The first wedding I was ever in. And they did.
Is that Paisley?
Oh, no, it was Aaliyah.
Leah.
Yeah, I was like 21. And, but they did their first look, like early in the morning and everything. And we were all there. And then they went to the church and they did all their family photos. And at the time, like, I was a college student and I was tired all the way. And I remember, and I forgot my dress in the morning.
Why are we up this early?
Literally, Hillary and I were sitting there like, what are we doing? Like, we love you. Why are we here right now? You're getting married so much later. But in retrospect, it makes a lot of sense because they knocked it all out before anything was said and done. And then that made the rest of the day, it was just like... It was just the wedding.
Fast forward to your marriage, our wedding, where we did the exact same thing, where we got married. Well, I guess not the exact same thing, but like similar to where we got like the wedding and a lot of the photos out of the way, like earlier on in the day.
We didn't do a first look though. We just got married in the morning.
True. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, first look is an interesting concept. It's probably I would say it's the most divisive thing in all of the wedding world because I have seen a 50-50 split wherever I've seen that question asked.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of like some people are like, no way in hell am I doing a first look. Like
that was me.
It's like I mean, that's what it's like. But then some people are like, no, I'm definitely doing a first look. And so I feel like it's the pros of non-first look are obvious because it's like, you don't, I mean, like, it's cute to see, like, his reaction when you're coming down the aisle and all this stuff. But I think it's actually important, now that you bring that up, the benefits of a first look are, I mean, I totally understand if it means your wedding, so do whatever you want, but... if you're on the fence, here are some of the benefits.
Yes.
One, the environment is controlled, and there you could like You have all the time in the world to get set up and make sure that your lighting is all set and everything. Where ceremonies, no matter how well you plan them, no matter how good of a photographer or videographer you are, they're always chaotic. They're always chaotic. Someone forgets to like play the right song, or the speakers give out, or people forget to walk down, or the flower girl is naturally 3 years old and is just running up and down the aisle, and I mean like, or the ring bearer is a dog and you're just trying to follow them, and they're way faster than you because you got they got 4 legs, you only got 2, and so
and they're really friendly and want to say hi to everybody.
I know, and so the big thing is that the environment is way more controlled, and so you can like place them in the shade, and you can pick exactly where the guy's going to stand to make sure you get his our cat's just having a bath right here on the table. Stop doing that. You can pick where the guy's going to stand, and you can pick, you know, I mean, like, you really can just give the full control of the environment to the people who visually are so important.
And it's more of a moment between, like, just the bride and groom. You don't have, like, all those eyes on you. If you cry, like, you have time to fix your makeup, like...
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm with you. So the lighting, the like you said, the emotions of it. Sometimes it can actually be even sweeter. You know, so I've never seen it gone wrong. That's the thing.
Oh no, for sure.
It could never go and you know, I guess a ceremony, you know, first look. I mean, other than the sun being so bright on the groom's face, that which has happened before. I mean,
plenty of times.
You know, and so it's like we still capture it, but it's like either the groom's face is like blown out and white because there's nothing you can do about it, or the people behind him are super dark, or I don't know, you know. But basically, the less variables there are, and the more opportunity you have to get some great stuff. Yeah, first looks definitely have their benefits. But, again, it really does come down to if you want that look down the aisle and, you know, you've always dreamt of that, then...
Do what you want.
People are going to do what they want to do.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I definitely have had a couple who's like, no way we're doing a first look. Like, we're doing it traditional, and we also just don't want to take any portraits. Like, we want a party. And I'm like, okay.
Then realize what you're getting.
If that's what you want, then we'll do all candids. You know, we don't need to do any portraits. So, you know, it totally works for what you want. But
exactly.
Yeah, it's your wedding day, and there's a lot of different ways you can switch things up and make sure you get what you want out of it.
Yeah, totally. I hear one a lot where it's like the grooms are like uncomfortable on camera. It's like the girls are like, oh, I want a bunch of photos and everything. But, like the grooms are like, do I really have to be like what like? And I feel like that they think that there's no way. It's so funny because I feel like the grooms think there's no way that I'm gonna look good, or that I'm gonna like know how to like. They're like, I'm not a model. Like, how am I gonna be able to do this? But it's like that's another important thing to look for in your vendor is just being able to like put you at ease and instruct you well on how to pose and how to get the best out of them. Come up with the way to make it feel like. Because if it feels like a job, or like if it feels like you're just putting in work to like be able to pose and everything for all these photos and stuff, that's how you know it's not going well. But if you make it, if as a photographer or videographer you make it feel like, oh, we're just I get an excuse to just like have fun and like
we're just hanging out.
We're hanging out.
We're having our own party over here.
Exactly. We're hanging out.
Them over there.
we're hanging out. You might be pointing a camera at me while I make out with my bride, but you know it's fine. It's whatever. You know, cool. We're all casual here.
Yeah.
But no, that's the big thing is getting somebody who's fine to just joke around and everything. Yeah. So like I was, I mean, when I first started, I was kind of timid of like, okay, now kiss. Oh, darn. Oh gosh, I hope that sounded.
I'm so sorry.
I hope that sounded confident. But now I'm all like, make out. Let's go. Let's do it. You do it. Yeah. And the more you joke, the easier it gets.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Or just be super relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
And that also depends on like how your like consultation or something. Like I don't know how it works with you, but like for me, like engagement sessions are very important for me.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm like, that gives me a chance to like vibe with the client, get figure out what their little like quirks are. Like I had one groom who like kept lifting his shoulders into his ears. So on his wedding day, I was like, dude, you're doing it again. Like, relax your shoulders.
It's that
like,
rapport.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, totally.
So, we're just messing with each other. You figure out what poses work for them and what doesn't. Yeah. And then on their wedding day, it doesn't feel like work. Because they're like, okay, we're basically doing the same poses we did, but way fancier.
Yeah, totally. That's a big thing is that if there's any way that you... Oh, goodness, sorry. Excuse me. If there's any way that you can do an engagement session before you work with a photographer or videographer, then do it, because it is so worth it. I haven't had the opportunity to do a ton of engagement sessions. I have done. There was one thing where I was for a while I was offering a free engagement session. You know, it was kind of like a contest or something. It was like a sponsored thing where it was like the first 10 people to reply get a free engagement session or something like that. And I booked a client off of them, and I haven't shot their wedding yet, but we already have that rapport. Like, we've already gotten to joke around with each other and tell them about my experience, and so I know that the wedding day is going to be like so smooth because I already like just, you know, have built that relationship and everything. So it's so important if you can do it. You know, coming from a bunch of professionals here, we all highly recommend it.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome that you do engagement videos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right?
So
Those are so cute to me. I've been wanting to like
totally
shoot one or have someone like, maybe I'll call you next time I do an engagement session.
Yeah,
have you tag along.
absolutely.
But they're always the sweetest little videos. I love them.
I know. I had never thought about them until I started getting into the industry, and I was like, well, this is like, you know, like a 1-minute video on Instagram. That's a really cute way to announce your engagement and everything. But again, it's just that thing of like, people are not used to video being such a prevalent part of the life. But now, I mean, you got Instagram, you got, I mean, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat. They're all just like going hard on the video front. So it's like,
it's true. Like, reels are huge on Instagram these
yeah,
days.
absolutely.
Yeah, video's big.
So if you ever want a cool way to announce to all your peeps that you are tying the knot, then hit me up, or ask your videographer if they could do an engagement video shoot, because I'm sure they'd be happy to. They probably wouldn't say no. I mean, you know. Yeah, it's more business and more fun, so why not?
Yeah, cool. It's cool.
Definitely. All right, well, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. It has been such a fun episode to talk about photo, video. Can you give the people your company name and everything, so
where they can find
hype yourself up. Let's
connect.
get you some traffic. Go ahead.
Oh goodness. So my business name is Lumiére Visual Arts. And it's LumiereVisualArts.com, and Instagram at Lumiére Visual Arts. I'm very creative. They're all the same.
Wait. Say it again. Say it again. Say it.
Lumiére Visual Arts.
Not bad.
It's kind of a tongue twister too. Sometimes I'm like.
Let's see if I can spell it. Lumiere with a little accent.
The little thingy is on the E after the I.
Oh.
But you don't have to put it in to like search it or anything.
Do I get is that like an A? It's not an A+, but do I get like an A?
A. We'll do A.
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
Close
Nice.
enough. You got one of these.
You've been very gracious with your grades tonight, I will say.
Thank you.
I was actually gonna say, like, maybe we should spell it. Like, I wouldn't know.
I was gonna attempt to spell it after, but yes, Lumiere.
Yeah.
Visual Arts. Yes.
Yeah. .com.
Yes.
Go check her out. She rocks. She's got that light, airy, but she can shoot dark cathedrals too. She's versatile. She's awesome. And she sticks up for people, well, you know, when they get punched in the face when they don't deserve to be punched in the face. All right. Yeah.
Gosh, I don't even think I stuck up for you. I was just kind of like, yeah, he's a jerk.
Oh, okay.
But it was my best friend.
Oh, it was seventh grade. There we go. She sticks up for her best friend.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Loyal.
I love
She's
that.
loyal.
She's loyal. I love that. That's great. Okay, well, we will see. I always say see you, even though there's no way that we're going to see you. You'll see us or you'll hear us.
Yes.
We'll talk to you next week.
Yes, we'll talk to you next week. I like that. That's good. On the Wine, Whiskey, and Wedding Planning Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.